Hi dear students, good morning everyone. So in our previous session, I was explained about different types of frictional forces and its advantages and as well as its disadvantages. So today I came forward with a new topic, metals and non-metals. This session is going to be very interesting. Dear students, you might have observed few objects which were made up of metals and a few which were made up of non-metals. So let me take now the list of metals and non-metals. So I was made a list of materials which were made up of metals and non-metals. So magnesium, which is known as very important metal, calcium, aluminium, gold. You know gold Latin name is known as Rm. So from its Latin name of the gold Rm, the symbol of gold is being derived. In same way, the Latin name of iron is ferrum. So from its Latin name of iron, the symbol of iron is being derived. In same way, Latin name of silver is argentum. So from that Latin name of silver, that symbol of silver is being derived. Last but not least here, tin, whose Latin name is known as tannum. So from the Latin name of tin, the symbol of tin is being derived. And some other non-metals, phosphorus, iodine, carbon, sulfur. So by using these listed metals and non-metals, I was prepared a list of materials. Now I would like to call a student. So in this list, few metals and non-metals already got together. So here you check. I am going to call a student and I am asking him to differentiate metals from non-metals. So what he have to do means, he have to find out from the given list of materials which are metals and which are non-metals. So now it seems a somewhat easy task, but initially, early, how did our scientists or else our ancestors are able to differentiate metals from non-metals means by learning their physical properties. So physical properties like luster, sonority, malleability, ductility, electrical conductivity, heat conductivity. So by using these 6 important properties of metals and non-metals, they are being differ from one to another. So let me explain something about metals now. Early story of tools. Dear students, you know, our early human beings, they use it to make their own tools in order to earn the animals. The tools were made up of with stone and wood, but later they started using like metals like copper and iron. What properties of the metals attracted much by the early human beings in the sense, compared to stone and wood, the strength of the metal is very strong. And one more different thing is there in between stone, wood and metals. Metals easily we can heat. After heating we can melt and we can get into our desired shape. Whereas that wood and stone we cannot. So these are the two important properties which attracted early human beings very much. Now, in order to differentiate metals from non-metals, everyone should learn the properties initially. By learning the properties of metals and non-metals only, we can differentiate from the given list of materials which are metals and which are non-metals, in which list of material I was wrote on the blackboard. So this is the materials with which different metals and non-metals prepared I wrote on the blackboard. From this list of materials we need to be find out which materials are metals and which are non-metals. For that we have to learn physical properties, or else we cannot differentiate, we cannot classify which are metals or which are non-metals.
Okay.
So students, let me explain now the physical properties of metals and non-metals. So first property of metal, let me explain, which is known as luster. Let me start with a question. Do all metals lustrous? So what does the property luster we have to know must. So further, in our previous classes, we learned that materials which had bright surface on which when does light incident, that light is being reflected means such type of surface of the objects, materials are known as lustrous. So the materials which are known as lustrous materials is that object surfaces which do not reflect the light, or else which object's surface not bright, it seems dull in the sense, they are known as non-lustrous. Generally all metals, mostly all metals lustrous materials. So dear students, one thing we have to understand here, in case of few non-metals like iodine, I was said mostly, generally, most of the metals are lustrous, whereas in case of non-metal like iodine also can shine. In the sense, iodine is also known as lustrous material up to some extent. So by using this property luster, which is being associated with metal, with only this property luster, we cannot differentiate a metal from non-metal. So dear students, one more thing also we need to be is ask ourselves. Generally that mirrors, when does light incident on them, they reflect the light. That mirror surface or reflecting light in the sense, can we call that mirror surface also metals? We cannot. So that's why with help of only one physical property, luster, we cannot differentiate metals and non-metals from a given list of materials. That's why we need to go through the other important physical property of sonority. What does sonority in the sense? Yes, in one classroom, while he is moving from one place to another place, student called Ajay carrying geometric box. So when he is carrying a geometry box, suddenly, all of a sudden, he fell. So what does happen means, from his hands, the geometric box slipped away and fall on odd floor surface. Then he heard a ringing sound of the geometry box, which resembles the sound of school bell. So from this what we can understand means, few materials after falling on odd surfaces, they can give ringing sound, but few which we cannot. So non-metals mostly, they cannot produce ringing sound, but whereas that metals can produce ringing sound, but it is also up to some extent only. All 100% metals, they do not give ringing sound. For example, let me take mercury, which is also known as a metal. Drop a piece of metal from certain height on a odd floor surface. Is it going to give really ringing sound? No, it won't give. Being a metal, it should give ringing sound, but it is not giving a ringing sound. From that what we can say means, most of the metals, they are sonorous, but few of them are They cannot produce sound, ringing sound. So from this what we can understand means, these first two properties, by using these first two properties, luster and sonority, really we cannot differentiate from a given list of materials which is metal and which is non-metal. That's why we need to go forward through the third important property of the metal, which we call malleability. So malleability of the metal I am going to be explaining. So dear students, you may have observed, this when we go to the sweet shops over some sweets, silver foil is being with the silver foil that sweets are being decorated, and that package of food is being in order to package the food we will use aluminum foil. From where we can obtain the foils of metals? How can we obtain the foils of certain metals? Means we need to understand about malleability. So dear students, one thing clearly listen. What does malleable in the sense? Malleability in the sense? So heating metals. After heating metals, we need to beat them with a hammer. After beating the metals like iron, it got flattened in the sense. After flattened, we can make into thin sheets in the sense. Such kind of property of metals are known as malleability. So we got now definition of malleability, the property of metal, and malleability of different metals are going to be different extent for different metals. So the malleability of gold is different from the malleability of silver. So it is going to be changed from one metal to other metal. Now, dear students, let me explain about very important other property of metals. Before that, these non-metals, most of the metals are malleable, but whereas non-metals like phosphorus, sulfur, carbon, these are the non-metals which are known as completely non-malleable. So now let me explain ductility. What does ductility in the sense? Drawing metals in order to make fine wires called ductility. The property of drawing metals into making fine wires called ductility. So here you check, most of all metals are ductile. Among the all metals, gold is more ductile compared to silver. Silver is more ductile compared to platinum. Platinum is more ductile compared to iron. Iron is more ductile compared to copper. But dear students, here you check, why we will use in order to make wires copper itself? Because compared to copper, even gold is highly ductile. Gold, silver, platinum we cannot use because these metals are highly expensive compared to the copper. And other important character of the conductor, copper is nothing but known as conductivity. So here you check, copper is more, means it is known as good conductor compared to the others. So here you check, this is the decreasing order of ductile of given metals. I hope you understand the property of ductility. Dear students, most of the all metals are ductile, but whereas non-metals are known as non-ductile. Now let me explain you people about electrical conductivity, which is known as fifth important property of the metals. So in our previous class, dear students, we learned about some simple electric circuits. I was made a simple electric circuit by means of a bulb and a battery with the connecting wires. I left some space in between P and Q. Fill that space with an iron nail. Then what is going to happen? Does bulb will glow? Means yes, obviously it will glow. From that we can say iron is known as good conductor of electricity. Replace that iron nail with a piece of wood or else a piece of rubber. Does bulb will glow, dear friends? Bulb will not glow because current will not pass to that insulators. That insulators means the substances which do not allow current through them, like eraser and rubber. Whereas iron nail can allow the current pass through it. So most of the all metals are known as good conductors of electricity, whereas non-metals are known as bad conductors of electricity. Apart from graphite, even graphite is known as a non-metal, which is made up of carbon. Even it is a non-metal, yeah, it can conduct electricity up to some extent. Now let me explain, dear student, about heat conductivity, which is known as important property of the metals. So further, let me explain you. Let me take simple example. Let me take an iron rod. We need to clamp that iron rod to the retard stand. Along the length of the iron rod, we need to fix the pins by leaving same distance between one to other pins. We need to fix these pins by using wax. Wax is a substance which is used to make candles. Then beneath the other end of the iron rod, we need to keep a spirit lamp and start heating that iron rod. What is going to be happen, dear friends? So when we heated up this end of the iron rod, that heat, which is known as a form of energy, will transform from one end to the other end. So initially the first pin with which it was fixed is going to be fall, because that wax is going to be melt. After melting the wax, it will fall. Next this one, next this. So in this way that all pins are going to be fall one after one. From that, what we can conclude means, when we heated up this iron rod by means of a spirit lamp, that heat is a form of energy which generated is going to be transformed from one end to the other end of rod. From that we can conclude that metal rods, means all metals, can conduct heat also, which is known as very important property of the metal, whereas non-metals cannot conduct heat. Thank you.